Follow Raj Baddhan on Twitter and Facebook. Simply search for Raj Baddhan.
Right now, though, it's time for my special Mehman here on Drivetime. And I gotta say, it's someone that I used to watch on TV all the time when she was here in the UK. And now, obviously, doing some big things in India, in films, on TV, and all sorts. I'm so delighted to welcome her here on Drivetime for the first time. The very beautiful Sophie Choudry. Sophie, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. It's so good to kind of connect with you live on the radio, and I'm so happy.
Well, thank you so much for that lovely introduction.
Do you know what, Sophie? I remember you from Z Top 10. There's so many other shows that you did.
So does everyone else, I hope. So does everyone else. Those were good days, and I was still studying at the time, so I never thought I would go into this professionally. That used to be like a weekend job, masti ke liye. Or I never ever thought that that's what I would end up doing professionally, but that's what happens, right?
I know it's been a massive jump from what you did then to now, because obviously you're in Bollywood, you're right in the middle of everything that's happening, aren't you?
Well, it's been fun. I mean, I think I'm in a very unique space in that, when I moved to India, I was already singing in my albums and songs like Babu Chal Chabila and then Ek Pardesi came. And at the same time, I was, one of the most popular VJs on MTV, which is something I never anticipated doing. And then, one day I got a call from David Saban saying, I really want to launch you in a film. And I know it sounds bizarre, but growing up in London and doing all those BTV Top 10 things, I used to look at Govinda and Karishma Kapoor and I used to say, hi, when will I get to dance on the streets of Europe on one of these Tapori songs? And it's crazy that David Saban called me himself. And I still remember when he called me, I didn't ask him what the story was, what the script was. He just said to me, look, I want to launch you. The film has Sanjay Dutt, Baddhan Khan, Zayed Khan. And I was like, yeah, I'll be there. That's it. So I didn't even ask what was going on. So, yeah, it was a huge move for a girl who's born and brought up in England, who doesn't have any family in India. I dragged my mother with me and forced her to become my manager. And it's been quite a journey because somehow it's 10 years now and I've somehow managed to sustain as the girl who can sing, can dance, does a few movies, and most of all performs live all over India and across the world. It's great fun.
And Sophie, I mean, I think you were like kind of on the crust when Z started their local shows with what you did to what it is now. I think you were kind of in the pinnacle, the kind of main part of when local shows started in the UK. So it's a great achievement to have, and to be associated with Z at that time as well. It was a massive thing, wasn't it, for you?
It really was, but it's so funny because they, my mother actually was into business, of course, but she knew the Bachchan family extremely well. And I remember Ramola Bachchan had a show called Face to Face, and my mother used to produce it for her. And for my mom also, it was just a fun thing. And I think the ZTV guys used to see me as a school kid, and they used to keep saying, "Isme kuch hai, isko TV pe laate hain, kuch karte hain." And we just used to laugh because I used to go to the studio in my school uniform, literally. And then one day, they just said, can you just audition for this? We'll look for a girl. And I auditioned for Top 10. Yeah. And they aired the audition as an episode. And I hadn't even done like proper hair, makeup, nothing. But they just liked it. And I just started from there. And, I didn't understand what it meant until I started, interacting with people, just locally if I'd go, or the Z Melas would happen. Yeah. I mean, I used to have people, putting their babies in my arms left, right, and center. And I used to have ladies saying, my husband loves you. And I'd be like, sorry.
Yeah.
It was such a funny experience for someone who was not prepared for it.
Even I'm constantly looking at you as well, thinking, how beautiful is she?
You're very sweet.
And I'm sure there's a lot of kind of husbands getting into trouble and boyfriends getting into trouble watching you and kind of ogling over you.
I'm a good girl, ladies. Your husbands are safe with me, I promise.
So we mentioned the VJing side, the singing side. Now, we've not heard you in terms of new material. When are we going to hear anything new from you?
Well, I think the last song I did was Hangama Ho Gaya, which did really well, especially in India. I think it was in between really hard for the non-film scene, and I generally don't do too much playback because I think when I moved to India, playback voices were the very typical voices. And then what happened was because I became a face, a lot of the music directors thought, she doesn't really want to sing for other people. Which is not necessarily true, but somehow I think my USP was that people want me to appear in my own songs. which is what I've done mostly in films. I think the only person I ever sang for was Preeti Zinta in Ishq in Paris, and that's because she asked me to. So yeah, it's very difficult, I think, with the non-film scene. Finally now, I think in the past few months, the non-film scene is coming back and people are producing non-film songs, and of course so have I, and you'll definitely hear my new song. It's a big collaboration, and I don't want to say who with, but I think next month, inshallah, in November, you should hear my new stuff, because that's what I live for and that's what I love. It's just, when you're performing and you're so busy, and last year was so busy with Chalak and lots of live shows this year, that I didn't really get time to sit in the studio, but I've done it now, and I promise you guys will be the first to hear it.
Brilliant. No, we can't wait for that. But how was Chalak? Because Chalak was a big thing last year for you, and being part of that show. How's the experience like?
Well, they asked me for about 4 years continuously, and I kept saying no. One, because I've had injuries in the past, and that show is really not dance, it's just acrobatics. And the other thing is, I think, television shows in India are very different. There can be favoritism at times, and I think it's very difficult to make a place for yourself. But then I think I just decided to take it on as a challenge. And honestly, my challenge, what I really wanted to achieve was just connect to a different audience. There's all of the lot who've seen me on the Top 10 and seen that, but there's a slightly younger lot who maybe hadn't seen me. There's a lot of family audiences, who know me as sexy and glamorous, but I wanted them to see the other side, which is the real me and not just the glamorous side. And I think through Jhalak, I managed to connect with so many people. In fact, I think when I got eliminated, I was, of course, heartbroken. But the response that we got and that the channel got was so insane that I think I was the only one who was asked to perform again in the finale, even though I wasn't a finalist. And I think that was really touching. And wherever I go, especially when I come to London, people see me, they're like, oh my God, you were so good in Chalak. And I just didn't realize how much people connect to that. So it was a wonderful experience. It's a bloody tough show, but I'm so glad I did it.
But Sophie, it's interesting what you just said there about favoritism. I think even this season as well. I don't know if you've been watching this season, but there's certain, there's certain names that obviously be going into the finals. It's kind of up the TRPs of the show. It's all about ratings in India, isn't it? And there's a lot of drama buzzy that goes on as well. Do you think that's the right way of going about things?
Sorry, do I what?
Do you think that's the right way of going about things for ratings?
No, look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm born and brought up in England, and I think things work very differently here, and everything's very transparent. But, I think the way things work in India is different. Although I have to say, generally, you do get the deserving winners in the end. So I think even when I signed up for Chalak, I never expected to win, because it is a show not just about what the judges like, it is about your popularity. And TV artists who are on television every single day, I didn't even realize how popular soap artists were, because I don't really sit and watch a lot of the soaps. But Ashish last year was a genuinely lovely guy, super talented, and I was thrilled that he won. And this year, I know them. I don't know Mohit and Sanaya that well, but I met them, of course, because I went over to Chalak House. I adore Faisal. I'm really biased towards him because I remember watching his first ever audition on DID, and I think for a young boy, what he's achieved for his family is absolutely incredible. And so I adore him. And of course, Shamita, I know. She's a fantastic dancer, always has been. So, I think it's fair game, but not necessarily what I agree with. But let's see who the winner is. The show is known to throw up a few surprises now and again.
True. Yeah.
Who's your favorite? Let me put you on the spot.
You know what? There's a couple of names. I think Sanaya is good. I like Sanaya, but I think Shamita. I think Shamita's probably got the chance. I think she's got the biggest chance out of all of them.
Oh, you think so? I don't know if people think that in India, but let's see. It'll be interesting. I think the show is actually technically the show is about a non-dancer becoming a dancer, and genuinely there is no bigger non-dancer than Sanaya on the show.
Exactly.
And I think what she's achieved is tremendous. And same for Mohit. These guys are not dancers. I think Faisal and Shamita have always been great dancers.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know. It really depends how it goes. But I think, it's a wonderful achievement to get this far for all of them. They've all done great. Let's see who wins. I haven't followed it in weeks, but I hope the best person wins.
But I think even in terms of ratings, I think this year in the UK, the ratings have been quite low compared to previous years.
I heard that,
which is a shame. I think there's been a lot of format changes. Judges haven't been all that either. I think during your year, having Madhu Dixit and having the full was brilliant, wasn't it? It was
I'm such a confident person generally, but I still remember after my first act, standing in front of Remo. And the funny thing with Remo is that I actually did a song years ago, even before I moved to India, after Samsara. It was a song called Lele Mera Dil, which Remo was not very well known at all at that time.
Yeah.
He actually choreographed the video and he starred in it with me, which is really funny. And that didn't make him any easier on me on the show. He was really tough on me. But just standing in front of Remo, Madhuri and Karan, I actually, after that first performance, my lip was quivering. It's like I didn't even know that muscle existed. I was convinced that everyone would be able to see this lip moving like crazy on television. I was so nervous, and I can't even begin to explain to you. It's such a silly little thing, but to hear Remo say this is it, it's just, I cannot even explain how much it means, because I know how much hard work goes into the show. Like, if you want to do well and if you take it seriously, you're dancing for like 10 hours a day, getting injured.
True.
So I think that I definitely miss seeing Karan, Remo and Madhuri on the show. I think this year's not a patch on that, but that's just fun.
I agree. Sophie, also, what about other reality TV shows? Are you interested about taking part in other shows? There's so many of these on TV.
It took them 4 years to convince me to do this one, and they've tried to get me to do all of them, Big Boss, Fear Factor, you name it. It's just not my scene at all. I'm not a big fan of reality television. In fact, the irony is that I quit being an MTV VJ when they started going more towards the reality stage, because that's just not really what I like to see on television. I know it's popular, but I wouldn't really want to be a part of it. I think Jhalak is the classiest show, and I remember last year when I went on Big Boss as a panelist with Salman, so that was great fun being a panelist. And then, I said to him, these guys keep chasing me for Jhalak, and he said to them, Isko, not Jhalak, sorry, they keep chasing me for Big Boss. And he looked at the team and he said, Tum Sophie ko Big Boss mein daloge, pagal to nahi ho gaya? So it was really funny. So when they called me again this year, I'm like, Salman told you last year.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were like, yeah, we know, but we thought we'd try again. I was like, that's not going to happen. But, it's a fun show to watch, I suppose, but I wouldn't want to be in it.
Exactly. I think it's something to watch rather than be part of it. I think it's too much kind of controversies around that. Also, let's talk about the film side of things. What's happening in terms of films? I know you did the item song that you did, Ala Re Ala, in Shoot Out of a Dollar.
Yeah, and then I did that Once Upon a Time in Mumbai Dobara with Akshay, which was great fun. Yeah, films are really great fun, and I think if you want to sign a film all the time, you can. But I think I'm a bit spoiled because I've worked with really good people like Sanjay Gupta, Milind Luthria, Inder Kumar, David Dhawan. I work with really good people. So I think you only really want to work with good people rather than just anybody.
Yeah.
So I've always been picky, and to be very honest, I enjoy the whole thing of, maybe doing a song in a film or doing just, a few days work. What I really love is performing live, and a lot of people don't realize how much I do it because I actually perform a lot for really high-end corporates. I travel a lot doing that, and private performances, and I love being on stage, which is actually why I'm in London right now, because I performed at the weekend for Pratham, which was incredible. So to be honest, for me, being on stage is the ultimate high. Yes, it's great to be on screen, especially when you're working with lovely people like, Akshay and John and everything, and I'm very privileged to do that. It's nice once in a while, but I really like being on stage.
But do you think there's any kind of limitations because of kind of the way you started and, the singing and being a sex siren as well? I mean, look how beautiful you are. So I think, do you kind of get these limitations just because of the kind of things that you've done in the past and then kind of doing films and getting into films?
That's a great question, because I think when I moved there and, I was a singer, I was glamorous, I was an MTV VJ, and, the MTV VJs were very iconic, even 7-8 years ago. And we were known to be super hard and confident. And I think I came with an image. So it worked great for a film like Pyar Ki Side Effects. It would work like magic for something like that. But at that time, people were not okay with an artist being versatile. They used to say to me, "Aap ya singing karo, you're acting, and you can't have both." And I used to be like, "But I'm an entertainer. Why are you making me choose?" And today, if a Karan is multitasking, or a Farhan or an Ayushmann, all multitasking, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's acceptable today. If an actress sings a song, it's like, oh my God, she sang a song. It's great.
Yeah.
At that time, it was like, no, we have a playback singer. Why do you need to sing? You be on screen. So it's very, very different. And I think, those preconceived notions make it difficult. Also, I think the industry, works in a very, very different way. And I think, Bollywood loves rags to riches stories. They love, this girl came with nothing and she struggled and she wanted this and she wanted that. They hardly really want to hear, this girl came from London, came from a good family, she's, from the LSD, she's educated, she's privileged. Nobody really wants to hear that, I think. They want to hear struggle stories. But the thing is, my struggle story is there. It's just a very different struggle story, you know. I mean, I'm really privileged to have been brought up well, educated well. But, you know, when my mother and I took off from here just as two women and shifted to India without any family, without any godfathers, no support, no controversies till date, you know, and make a home in a place where you have nobody and start from scratch, I think that's a huge challenge and a huge struggle. Yes, maybe, you know, I didn't have to think about, you know, I have to live in a difficult place, or how am I going to get around, or how am I going to do this? But just to make a name for yourself in that environment without any controversies, it's really not very easy.
And even at that time, I think there were a few kind of these actresses from the UK that went into Bollywood, but didn't really kind of work out.
Nobody was making it. And when I was leaving, I still remember people like Rishi Rich and everybody saying, why are you going to India, man? Like, what are you going to do there? That's so different. And I was like, yeah, I know. But somebody's got to do it, because being here, especially at that time in the British Asian music scene, it was really just about performing at melas, and that was not my scene at all.
Yeah, true.
You know, and I'm very proud to be British Asian, but I really was very much a Desi girl, you know, who speaks fluent Hindi, who loves her movies. And if I was going to go there, then that's what made sense to me. And if it didn't work out there, I would have come back and, you know, I'm qualified and I would have done a corporate job and I would have been great. But I mean, the risk was to go there, and I think that is a huge struggle, I think, for two women to just go out there, a mother and a daughter, and, you know, to sustain this long, because trust me, I've seen many people come and go. You can have one hit film, or you can, you know, come with a big bang, and you can just as quickly disappear. To somehow sustain yourself, you know, and have a little bit of dignity in what you do, and, you know, still be recognized by everybody and have your own little niche, I think I'm very proud of that. I feel very good about that.
Well, I mean, we are. I mean, Sophie, I've got to say, from Subraj Radio, from me, Raj Baddhan, I think that, you know, we're very proud of how you kind of got into Bollywood and what you're doing there. You know, we can see the kind of struggle and, you know, especially the kind of heights that you're reaching. And, you know, it's going to be something that's going to be ongoing. So we're
still
really looking forward to it.
But I think, you know, everyone has their time. And I think I've got lots of exciting things coming up this year. And I've always had a lot of love and support from the UK, which I really value and appreciate.
Oh, no, Sophie, it's been brilliant talking to you.
Thank you.
Are you going back tomorrow to India?
I'm going back tomorrow, but I mean, like I said, I just performed at Drivetime charity at the weekend, and it's amazing because it was a very small bunch of people, and it was on the globe, which is beautiful. But we raised almost £1 million.
Wow!
And it seems to be the most successful Pratham ever, which is amazing. So it looks like I might be back soon for another one.
Oh,
who
brilliant!
Knows? That might be open to some of you all. I hope so. I told them that I want to get a lot of people there this time. So I would love to see a lot of you guys out there who I don't normally get to see, or who don't see what I do on stage. I'd love for you all to see.
That's brilliant. No, I remember, was it Kangana Ranaut? I think she was part of it last year or the year before.
She was last year.
So there you go. I think for you to kind of beat that and to kind of raise more money than last year is awesome. So there you go. It's your magic, Sophie. So I'm going to give credit to
There's a lot of people doing a lot of good things for education of kids back in India, something I really, really value. So, yeah, it's good to be here. And it's always good to be back in my hometown. This will always be my home.
Oh, well, Sophie, it's been brilliant talking to you. We'll catch you again very, very soon, and sometime in the studio when you come next, right?
Jaldi se main aapko apna naya gana bhejungi.
Oh, brilliant. Looking forward to that. All right, catch up soon with you, and take care.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, there you go, the lovely Sophie Choudry there, live exclusively here on Drivetime. So good talking to her and catching up with her. You can listen back to this interview, by the way, at subrajradio.com after 6 o'clock when I finish. I'll be back in a moment.
Raj Baddhan. Drivetime.